I have secured initial commitments from the top 5 grocers to take concrete actions to stabilize food prices in Canada.
It doesn't sound like they've come out of this meeting with any concrete plans to what they call stabilize prices.
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Fox. Several weeks ago, Trudeau called the CEOs of the 5 major grocery retailers into Parliament to demand that they answer for sky-high food prices across the country.
CTV spoke to some of the CEOs at the conclusion of those meetings. Let's see what they said.
The Conservatives hammering Justin Trudeau. They say he's out of touch with average Canadians. And after 8 years in power, his government is out of ideas. Let's bring in CTV's Rachel Aiello, who's standing by in Ottawa, following some of this here. And you heard a lot of interest by the media there, trying to get answers from the head of Metro. We know that the head of Loblaws, Sobeys, Costco, Walmart, they're all there as well at this meeting to try and answer some questions. What do we make of it all, Rachel?
Yeah, so based on what we've heard there, it doesn't sound like they've come out of this meeting with any concrete plans to what they call stabilize prices. And this is kind of the question that a lot of reporters have been asking since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made this announcement on Friday that he was summoning these grocery executives to Ottawa for a meeting. The purpose of this meeting, Todd, was to talk with Freeland and Champagne about a plan to get grocery prices under control. The Prime Minister's ultimatum was, if you don't come forward with some sort of credible plan, they would consider tax measures. Now, tax measures is an extremely broad phrase. We don't know exactly what that would mean. We are expecting Todd to hear from Minister Champagne just before question period around 2 p.m. So maybe he'll give us some core takeaways. But based on what we're hearing from the CEOs, we had Judy Trinh there grilling them as they went in. No commitments on lowering prices from what we've just heard as they start to trickle out. It sounds like they're trying to make the case that the Retail Council of Canada has, that inflation is to blame for this. You know, it's not grocery CEOs profit mongering. It is inflation. It is the cost of producers, shippers, kind of all the way down the chain that these prices have increased.
Okay, so that didn't sound like anything was actually decided, but Champagne went on to say that they did have plans as of October the 6th.
This is just the beginning. No one would suspect or expect that this is the end. This is actually the beginning of a number of actions that we want to take to help stabilize prices in Canada. We will continue to fight every day for Canadians. That's what I do. That's what we all do in order to improve the situation. So first, I have secured initial commitments from the top 5 grocers to take concrete actions to stabilize food prices in Canada. Starting soon, Canadians will be able to see rollout of actions such as discount across a basket of food products, price freezes, and price matching campaigns, to name a few. Because as you would appreciate, I receive plans from different grocers, and obviously we're just naming a few examples of what I've been saying. But these measures will bring a much needed, more competitive marketplace, and the winners of that are obviously Canadians. Because what we want is to set an objective, but the way to achieve it, we obviously want competition to play. And I can tell you, I've been looking at some flyers this morning, and you already see action in terms of different grocers adjusting ahead, obviously, of Thanksgiving.
Wait, what? Let's hear that again.
You already see action in terms of different grocers adjusting ahead, obviously, of Thanksgiving.
Is he actually trying to take credit for the fact that the grocery stores did what grocery stores always do, which is put a flyer with, you know, sales in it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Wow. Okay, that's a new low even for this government, trying to pretend that sales didn't exist before they came along. Anyway, taking that aside, he reiterated these alleged plans in his statement during his CBC interview on October 8th, which we recently covered in one of our most recent videos.
What I introduced last week was a 5-point plan. You know, one of them is the commitment from the grocers. Some of the things we've seen before, but I would say expanded and certainly for a longer time, talk about price freeze, discounted basket. But this is just one of the things we've said.
Okay, so maybe the grocery stores came up with this plan and submitted it to Champagne between the initial meetings and Thanksgiving. right?
Nope. It appears they were lying yet again. In an article published today, October the 11th, CTV reports that major Canadian grocers won't confirm discounts or price freezes that the feds promised last week. The article reads, Ottawa. Major grocers in Canada are not yet confirming whether they have committed to special promotions to stabilize grocery prices, as was recently promised by the federal government. Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne announced last week that the grocers have presented initial plans to stabilize prices, which include discounts, price freezes, and price matching campaigns. The Canadian press has reached out to the grocers, Loblaw, Empire, Metro, Walmart, and Costco, to confirm what exactly each of them has promised to do.
Metro declined to comment, while Loblaw, Empire, and Costco have not yet responded to requests for information. In a written response, a spokesperson for Walmart Canada said the company plans to keep offering, quote, everyday low prices, quote, which refers to Walmart's strategy of offering low prices on a regular basis rather than in promotion only. Quote, last week we shared with the government how we will continue to deliver everyday low prices for Canadians during these challenging times, end quote, said Stephanie Fusco, Senior Manager of Corporate Affairs. That almost sounded like a Walmart commercial.
Quote, we're taking action to fight inflation and keep prices low and, in our submission, also provided several suggestions on the role government and regulators can play in curtailing food price inflation for Canadians, end quote. The federal government gave an ultimatum to grocers in September, saying they should present plans to stabilize grocery prices by Thanksgiving or face potential tax measures as a consequence. The move came in response to the pressure Canadian families are facing as grocery prices continue to rapidly climb. Grocery prices in August were 6.9% higher than they were a year ago. Meanwhile, the country's overall inflation rate was 4.0%.
Recent polls show support for the governing Liberals dropping as affordability remains top of mind of voters. Champagne's announcement last week on the commitments from grocers included little detail. The minister did not clarify what products may be subjected to special promotions, for example. When pressed by reporters on how Canadians will know these promotions are any different from the ones regularly offered by grocers, Champagne said he does not want to disclose what each company has pledged to do.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't. Continuing on, quote, I'm saying those are examples of what we see in the plans because I want the market to compete. I cannot say I received that from Loblaws, I received that from Metro, I received that from Costco, I received that from Walmart, end quote, he said on Thursday. Quote, each grocer has different actions, so it will be up to Canadians to judge them, end quote. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh slammed the Liberals' approach on grocery prices during a news conference last week, saying their, quote, plan to ask CEOs nicely to reduce prices is ridiculous, end quote.
Like, if you people that are watching this are on the same page as Fox and I, you're probably asking the question, what the hell is this other than theater? And I think the answer is nothing. Because all this sounds like is they're asking the grocery chains to do what they already do, which is put on the occasional sale. Oh, well, we want to see a discount price across the basket. How are they even going to do that? Like, even from a logistics standpoint, how do you do that? That's going to be ridiculous. So what, you're just going to get people to load up and then apply a flat discount across the shopping cart?
Well, if you ask me, I think what it might be is maybe you've got like a pre-made quote unquote basket of stuff. Like maybe you've got a dozen eggs in there. Maybe you've got a loaf of bread. Maybe you've got a 2 liter of milk, just a bunch of staples maybe that they say, okay, if you were to buy everything individually, it would cost you $20. But if you buy it all together in this quote unquote basket, then we'll give it to you for 18 or something like that.
But even that, right? All I see that doing is putting an end to sales on eggs, to sales on butter, to sales on any of these things that might be in that pre-made basket.
Well, and I think it promotes waste because what if, for example, you want to buy this basket because it's cheaper, but you don't actually need the eggs, and then the eggs go to waste. Now, this is just an example. We don't know this is for sure what they're doing, but if I was a grocery store and I said we were offering a basket discount, that's probably what it would be.
I think what happened is the grocery stores probably said to him, here's our margins. Here's our books. Go ahead. Look at them. They're the same that they were in March. You want to lower grocery prices? Then decrease the cost of the supply chain. And one of those ways to do that is, drum roll, remove the carbon tax.
Well, and I think that's exactly what this is that the Liberals are trying to make the grocery store CEOs these big bad behemoths, right? Look at these guys. Look how rich they are. Look, it's their fault that your groceries cost so much. It's their fault that you have to go to the food bank. It's their fault you can't afford to eat. And look at these guys in their yachts and whatever. And really, it's distracting from these horrible economic policies that these Liberals have put in place. And that's what's driving inflation right now.
Well, the funny thing is I think they think that it's distracting from it, but in actuality, it's just highlighting it. It's highlighting all of the bad decisions and bad policies that the Liberals have made and the effect that it's having on the economy, especially on groceries.
It's so 1984, where the government is the one responsible, again, through their bad bills and bad policies that created this economic environment, especially the carbon tax. Not the only thing, but one of the primary things. And then they're blaming this group of rich elites, these grocery CEOs, like these are the boogeymen.
And when you look at this in totality, they did the same thing with Bill C-18. They're trying to paint Facebook and Google as these big, bad, rich companies, and they're coming after you, and they don't care about you. Now they're doing the same thing with the grocery chains. They're these big, bad, rich companies, and they're exploiting you. Never mind the fact that the number one exploiter in this country is the Liberal and NDP government.
And that's all this government knows how to do is they distract and they divide and they blame. And I don't think they should get away with it any longer.